For more great content, subscribe to my Annuity Avenue channel, and don't forget to like and comment. A question a lot of folks ask is, what does an income rider have to do with annuities? Well, folks, by the way, I'm Coach Pete. I am a president of Capital Financial Advisory Group. For more than 32 years, I've been helping people just like you educate themselves and get plans put together in the financial world. So an income rider enables you to get income in a monthly or yearly fashion for life from your annuity. This takes the worry out of living in retirement. It also takes the worry out of planning for retirement because you know exactly what kind of income you're going to get. Now, the good thing here to know is that we can tell you the guaranteed minimum income you're going to get, but you could have more. You see, the magic here in the annuity world is your annuity could gain some money, more money than we thought it would gain, and therefore your income would be higher. Nobody complains about having more income. People get in a lot of trouble when they get less than they thought they were going to get. So we never want to tell you a number that's not going to be true at the minimum. I've been asked a lot of times, how do I add an income rider to my annuity? This is done the day you sign up for annuity. You have a choice. Do you want an income rider on here or do you not have that? You cannot make this choice afterwards. So it's a very important thing to learn about before you sign up for an annuity. Now, many people already have an annuity. Maybe it's an underperforming annuity. They can roll that annuity tax-free into a brand new annuity, and they can add an income rider to that. We call that refinancing your annuity. The main benefits that I see of an income rider is it takes the worry out of planning and living in retirement for you and your family because you know exactly what kind of income you're going to get from the amount you put aside. I never advise anyone put all their money into one annuity with one income rider. If you have enough money that you want to have 2 or 3 different annuities with 2 or 3 different income riders, that makes sense because you can activate the income riders at different times in your retirement, therefore giving you a boost in income when you need it the most. And when you don't activate it, it's continuing to grow. So you're going to get more and more money when you don't activate the income riders. But having them available for you and your family takes that worry out of living in retirement again. Also, it enables you to take a lot more risk with the money you don't have in the annuity because you already have your income, more than the income you're ever going to need for retirement in your income riders. So take the extra money and take the maximum risk you can in the stock market. Therefore, even if you've lost the money in the stock market, you still have your money in your income riders. Makes a lot of sense to me. So it's important that you know exactly what kind of income you could get. So before you make the decision, have your advisor tell you, based on the money you're putting in and based on your age, what kind of income you could get at different ages in the future from this income rider. Makes a whole lot of sense to me. I think everyone should get a personalized and customized example on that. Now, I just covered income riders on annuities, but this will make a whole lot more sense. If you like this video, subscribe to my Annuity Avenue channel for more great videos just like this. Don't forget, too, to like and comment. Hey, I'm Coach Pete. For over 32 years, I've been helping people just like you understand this very complex financial world. Very happy to have you here with me today. There's no shortage of content out there on financial matters. Today, we're going to explore one of Clark Howard's videos called Why Annuities Stink. So let's cut through some of this confusion. Thomas, roll the tape. He loves the word massive commissions, I guess. I mean, he is misrepresented. I don't know what annuity he's looking at. He really never said what annuity he was looking at on that video. 65 pages is a standard contract for most everything these days. Many of the pages in the contract of an annuity are explaining how your beneficiaries get the money if you're not here anymore. It explains how you can get that lifetime income. It breaks down, showing you all the different lifetime incomes. Yes, there is something called a surrender schedule. Usually, the fair ones are under 12 years, 10 years, 7 years, those kind of things. You hold it for that long, you can take the lump sum. Most of my clients never want to touch that lump sum because they've got that income rider attached to annuity that's growing like crazy. And he also said that you could not touch the money without a massive penalty. Any annuity I've ever offered gets at least 10%. You can take 10% of your total value out each and every year. How is that a massive penalty? And your money is liquid after 7 to 10 years. You can take it all out. Again, nobody ever wants to. They want to renew it so they can keep that income rider going. So Clark Howard, who is a travel agent, by the way, he's not licensed in the financial world, has no business talking about financial matters. I don't talk about how to get the best airplane fares. I do my own travel booking myself. It's not that hard. But the financial world's a lot harder than the financial world, and Clark Howard needs to stay in his lane, so to speak. So let's hear what Clark Howard has to say about annuities in the financial world. I have hundreds of clients, and not one of them has ever said anything bad about what Clark did about annuities. Folks, they do give you downside protection. We call it advance, protect, and income. You advance your money, protect your money, then you get lifetime income. You grow your money, you're advancing, you're growing. So GPI plan is what our slang word for it, growth, protection, income. But for him to say there's no downside protection, I have no idea what he's talking about. Nobody loses a penny in an indexed annuity. That's the trade-off. Sure, you don't get all the upside. No, all the upside was never promised, but you're trading some of the upside for all the downside protection. In other words, the worst you can ever do in an annuity, as far as what the market could do to you, is a 0% return per year. Maybe the market's down 30 or 40%. You get a zero. Which would you rather have, Clark? Negative 30 or zero? I know what I'd rather have, and I know what my clients like too. There are so many questions these days about retirement planning and annuities. The internet is full of them, especially Reddit. Today we're going to answer some of those. My team has chosen several questions from Reddit, and we're going to talk about them. Let's dive into this. Question number one.
Our first question comes from Scott R. Francis. He says he's 57 years old, wants to work for another 10 years or so. He's been shopping for advisors, and he was interviewing an advisor recently, and he suggested adding a deferred annuity. He says, I'm somewhat allergic to annuities, but perhaps I'm being short-sighted. Any thoughts about this vehicle in general and when it would be advantageous or not?
Well, he's actually, at 57, he's in what we call the financial red zone. And that's an ultimate time to be looking around to plan your retirement vehicles, your sources of income, the places that are going to be your engines for retirement, the ones that are going to produce that income so you and your family can do anything you want within reason all the way through retirement. So at 57, I think that's the ultimate age, 10 more years to retire. I mean, he's in a sweet spot right there to get the ultimate GPI plan, growth, protection, lifetime income that annuities supply if he gets the right annuity. He said a deferred annuity. There's so many different kind of annuities with a different first name. It's hard to say what deferred could mean. It could be a deferred variable annuity, which puts your money at risk. It could be deferred fixed annuity, which gives you a set amount of interest each year for a certain term, sort of like a CD at the bank. But the ultimate one for the retirement vehicle would be a deferred fixed indexed annuity, which with an income rider attached. Now, deferred fixed income means you get to share in the gain of some market index, and there's a lot of different ones out there depending on what annuity he picks. But you share in the gain of the index, but you never share in the loss of the index. So you can ratchet up your money, and then if you put an income rider on there, the income rider promises your money will grow by a certain percentage every single year for a lifetime income you can't outlive. Let's say it's a 6 or 7% income rider, or maybe even 8%. If you use a rule of 72, you take, let's say, a 7% interest, 7 goes into 72, 10. Every 10 years, your money doubles that way. So there's so many great choices for this individual right here, and he should not overlook the factor that lifetime income is the most important aspect of his whole retirement plan.
Coach, this one comes from Frolicking Banana. Says, I've been saving up for retirement, but trying to figure out how to balance it out. Now, I've seen some older folks with a ton of money in the bank and not living life. What's the point of doing that? I've also seen folks blow off their retirement way too early and regret it till their end. I'm trying to figure out how to tread the middle. Ideally, I'd like to spend the last penny I have on the last day I'm alive, but since we can't predict lifetimes or the market or the economy accurately, I'm super confused how to balance this out. Is anybody in retirement have wisdom on that? Meaning you, Coach?
Well, I've been planning for retirement for other folks for 32 years. I've been planning my same retirement, I've been planning my retirement at the same time too. This is always amazing to me sometimes, where if you go to see a car salesman, he's trying to sell you a Cadillac, let's say, but the car he drives is a Toyota. So, I mean, if you're dealing with a planner, the planner should believe in what they're trying to offer you. How much do they really believe in it? So if I recommend life insurance to somebody, I know I have that life insurance policy already. I've already tried it. Years ago, the Biography Channel did a special on me, and they called me the Mikey of the financial world, because I try things first before I ever tell my clients about them. And some you never hear about because they wouldn't work out. And I want to be the test rabbit, not my client. Very, very important, though, to make sure you understand everything that's available in the financial world, and you get a planner who takes that philosophy that they endorse what they offer, because how do they endorse it? They endorse it by having one themselves. There's a lot of wild financial information out there on the internet, especially on TikTok, where they call these folks finfluencers. And folks, we really need to cut through some of the BS here on TikTok. My team has picked out a few videos that we can play and talk about right now. Thomas, roll that tape.
Usually investing into a 401k is keeping you broke. So this is John, and he's contributing $5,000 per year into his 401k. So with a 7% return and a 3.5% salary increase every single year, John will have about $1.4 million by the time he turns 65. Now, it sounds great and it sounds like a lot of money, but it's actually not. So if inflation stays at 3% every year, in 30 years, this $1.4 million will only be worth $576,000 in 30 years. Now, you have to really start thinking about this. Do you want to shave off the quality of your life to maybe have some extra money by the time you're old? Even if you have hundreds of millions of dollars when you're 65, you you may not be able to fully enjoy. Comment below if you want me to make a video on how to use a 401k to build a 6-figure income right now and not in 30 years.
So many parts. What was he talking about? Number one, I would rather have $1.4 million at that time than not have it, right? So let's start with that base and then know you got to add more money now. You've got a long time before then. Save additional money if you're worried about inflation, which everybody should be. We call it the evil eye, folks. The evil eye is always here and it's not going to go away, so we need to pay attention to it. But just make sure that you don't take advice from folks like this. It's sort of like when you listen to a radio show and a host tells you, you put some money away now and you'll get 10 to 12% per year for the next 30 years and you'll have millions. They never tell you where to put it to get this 10 to 12% magic return. We call it the 12% magic mutual fund, and everybody would line up for that if it existed. The problem with the stock market, though, it goes up and it goes down. And it all depends on when you get in. You could get in up here and get out down there. Or you could get in down here and get out up here. It's all about timing. And you don't want to be at the mercy of timing, so you never want to have to depend on the money in the market. You want to have a glide path into retirement, and we do that by utilizing fixed indexed annuities on one side in that growth protection income type account, and then we utilize the stock market on the other side. So if we have that guaranteed income, we sprinkle more income on from the stock market. Makes a lot of sense. See you on the other side.
Everyone's going to make you believe that it takes money to make money, but I'm here to tell you that that is not true. $3,300 is all I needed to make my first $1.6 million in real estate over 15 years ago. There's always money somewhere. Someone's got it, as long as the deal is good. So if you learn how to network and find a really good deal with a high ROI, I got news for you. The bank will put up the majority of money. Someone else will put up some of the money, and boom, you're off to the races.
Hey, be your own banker kind of strategies here, or taking the bank's money and using their money as yours, so to speak. We all hear about the magic real estate deal. I've never found it myself. I mean, if you have your house hopefully appreciates in value. The first thing you should do in real estate is buy a house for yourself. I mean, buy your shelter, because what do we depend on in life? Food and shelter. So get your shelter taken care of. Try to get that house paid off where you don't owe anyone else for it. Now, keep in mind, folks, just because you pay your house off and you have a zero balance with the mortgage company, do you really own the house? And the answer is no. If you don't pay your property taxes, guess who's going to come take that house? Mr. Uncle Sam, Mr. Government. Mr. Government entity is going to come take your house. So it is great to have your house paid off, but just know you always have to pay your taxes and, of course, your insurance, because you don't want anything bad happening to the house. But just know, you hear all these magic real estate deals and these magic stock pickers, and you give this guy some money, he's going to tell you how you can outdo him in real estate. Ask yourself one question. If these folks really knew what they claim to know, would they sell it to anyone else? Would they need to? Would they even be around talking to you now? No, they'd have trillions of dollars, and I don't know how many people have billions, much less trillions of dollars. So just use common sense, but make sure you take care of yourself and your family first.
So, Coach, every day, tens of thousands of people retire, and a lot of people that are retiring have also inherited annuity along the way. What's that look like? What do you do with it? What are your options?
Well, the number one thing you should do when something happens bad, I mean, if you're inheriting it, something bad happened. So don't make a snap decision. Sit down, take your time. Don't let anyone force you into doing anything quick, because that's what happens a lot of times. We're in a period of grief. Some things we do we shouldn't be doing. So analyze that annuity. Some annuities let you continue what's the annuity is. So if you already have a stream of income, maybe you can continue that stream of income. Or you can take the lump sum and you can move it other places. Keep in mind, there's some good places and bad places to put it. If you like the concept of an annuity, there are probably better annuities these days because they seem to get better every year. There's more options. There's something called a living benefit rider, which is really good. So it's all about looking at the choices you have before you make a decision. And I can't believe there's about $10,000 a year. That's a lot of moving money, we call it. And it's also a lot of times where sharks appear. So be very careful making that decision. Well, it depends on what kind of annuity it is. If it's a qualified annuity, that means it's an IRA. No one's paid tax on that yet. So guess who gets to pay tax on it? Well, you or they tax it before you get it. So if it's a non-qualified one, it has some special tax privileges where you don't have to pay tax on a lot of the stuff there. So it's all about, and again, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not even an accountant. So we work with CPAs in our company to make sure that people don't, and also estate planning attorneys, to make sure people don't make snap decisions that end up coming back and slapping them.
Got it. So, Coach, when setting up an annuity, are there some things that we need to consider, like returns on our premiums or death benefits?
Well, the cool thing about most annuities set up, they say automatically when you die, 100% of the value of the annuity goes on to a beneficiary you've already assigned. So that's really nice. And it bypasses probate, too, which doesn't get caught up in the court process. It would save you about 3% on that, by the way. Probate costs can be 3 to 5%. So if you bypass it with that money, they're not going to be able to take any of it. So as far as the death benefit, that's covered. And return of premium, I think you mentioned, really, you don't. That's the same thing as a death benefit. So unless you had taken some money out ahead of time, and there wasn't as much money in there, so makes a lot of sense just to consider annuities. Make sure you have the right one, though.
So, Coach, I have always wondered how in the world insurance companies make money on a fixed indexed annuity. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, first of all, a fixed indexed annuity lets you share in the gain of the market without sharing in the downs of the market. So they have downside protection and upside potential. Makes a lot of sense. You don't get all the upside, obviously. The insurance company go out of business but so they make money there on the difference between what they promise you in the contract and what the total gain is. But the main way, people say, well, how can they afford to give you all that downside protection and only take a little bit of upside for themselves? They take whatever money people give them, they put it into their general funds. They get an interest on that, obviously. They buy options with the interest on the money they have. So the options are both up and down on the market. They straddle the market. So some of them expire worthless if the market's going wrong, but some make money. So they make money on that index. That's how they can afford to pay you a share of the gain on the market. See? So they have very fancy money managers at insurance companies, and they have billions of dollars we're talking about. So they get better rates than we do anyway. So they have a good profit margin without having to rip off their customers. If you follow the rules of annuity, they never take a penny from you. If you take it, put it in for 10 years, you don't take it out. Like, don't take all it out in 10 years. They don't have any surrender fees. It's all liquid for you. If you take out 10% a year, they don't have any fees either. The only fee they have is on what they call it a fee. It's when you're sharing in the gain. So you can't get all the gain, so they take a fee out to make sure they compensate themselves. But you get no loss, so that fee basically covers the downside.
So I frequently hear you refer to GPI, or grow, protect, and income.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
That's so vitally important. As we get close to retirement, we want our money to, well, any time in our life, basically. But as we get close to retirement, one aspect comes more clear. You always want your money to grow. So if we could grow your money and protect our money. In other words, we want a growth, but we don't want to give the money back the next year. Growth, protection, and then sometime in the future, you'll want income. And as we get closer to retirement, we know income is more and more important. So grow your money, protect that growth. When everybody else is losing, you're protected up here. And then eventually you want lifetime income. Now, when we say income, we mean lifetime income for you and your spouse. Money you can never outlive, money that'll always be there. And this is a zinger. Even if your balance in that account goes to zero, the income continues to go when either one of you is still breathing, still here on this earth. That's why we love growth, protection, income accounts.
So, Coach, I know there's always a lot of discussion around bonds, but they aren't necessarily the best choice for everyone. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, bonds less and less of a part of anyone's plan these days, because as interest rates go up, bond prices go down. So if you buy a bond now, let's say you bought a bond 3 years ago. At this price, interest rates went up, your bonds, you can't even sell your bond for what you got it for. So it depends on the term of the bond too. A lot of times 10-year, 20-year, 30-year. If you have a 10-year bond, if you wait 10 years, you can get your money back. So it's a long time to wait. You get a lower rate though, because if you get a 20-year bond, you get a little higher rate. 30-year bond even higher, but you have to wait 30 years. So if we're in this kind of environment where your bond's not worth what you put in, you have to wait 30 years to get it back to even. If you're on a bond fund, you never can get your money back out. So be very careful on bond funds. We like annuities as an alternative to bonds because your money's protected. You can have lifetime income. You can even share in the gain of the stock market in some annuities. So you've got everything that everybody liked about a bond plus some now in an annuity. The only reason you'd buy a bond is if you were dealing with a stockbroker who had no other thing to offer you for a safe object, because bonds aren't as safe as they used to be, in my opinion. Bonds aren't completely safe anyway, but they're safer than stocks. So when the stock market offers you the safer alternative, it still has risk. So know that before you ever put money in bonds, but also know there's better alternatives, in my opinion, than bonds to begin with.
So I know, Coach, I, for one, am completely overwhelmed when it comes to discussing retirement planning. And I personally am in what you call the financial red zone. I'm 58. My husband's 8 years older than I am. And it's daunting to think about tackling this on our own. And talk to me about the importance of planning and the importance of finding a good coach to help you with planning.
Yeah, the coach also acts as a referee sometimes. You've got two people here, we're getting ready to retire, and then maybe one person wants to do one thing and the other person wants to do something else. So the coach is a good person there to step in the middle, but also a coach that has experience. Experienced coach. 32 years I've been experienced in retirement coaching. So I've seen what works, I've seen what doesn't work, unfortunately. But the good thing about me seeing what hasn't worked for other people is that I can show you what not to do. Albert Einstein once said that smart people learn from their mistakes, but geniuses learn from other people's mistakes. So you don't have to make the mistakes to learn from them. And so we've seen about every mistake I could ever imagine in the 32 years that I've been and planning for retirement for other folks. So it's just important, though, to have somebody that you can trust, depend on, and won't overcharge you. I've seen people get killed in fees, and so what good is it to have a planner if the planner is the one causing financial evaporation? If the planner is, in fact, a financial termite eating away at your own money. So we always say, whose retirement are you planning for or succeeding with? You, or if your broker is the one succeeding on your money, then we're in the wrong place. If you both succeed, that's good, but you need to be the one winning all the time. So just make sure you get somebody you can trust, and it has to be one both spouses can trust too, and that's a little tougher too. But if you both can agree on somebody, then it makes a lot more sense. So everyone's going to approach this part. Don't feel overdaunted. We all feel that way. We all feel like we're the only one. Everyone's gone through that before. It can be done the right way, but just don't make impulsive decisions. So just make sure when you're building your plan if you have any NVIDIA, like I've got 50 shares, I'm not selling mine because I can afford to take that risk, but I'm already up 4 times. In theory, I should probably sell 10 shares and get all the money I invested in back, and now I'm just playing with what they call the house money. But I'm going to leave it in there, let it ride for a while. If it's $1,000 a share, I probably will sell 25 shares. Why not? 25,000. When you think about what I paid, $50 at $199, I paid $10,000 for that. So $10,000 to, what I say, $100,000 or $200, that's a lot, or a lot of money. And we'll see you later.